So today is new phone day, and we've reviewed a fair bit of phones from these guys, POCO. The most recent one we did was actually this one here, which was their, I think it was the M6 Pro. This was really more of a, like one of their entry-level budget. I want to say budget. They're all actually, I don't know the official price of this POCO F6, but to be honest with you, if you're looking for like an Android-based phone, even their flagship phones, which I think this kind of falls in, bang for buck, they're pretty hard to beat. They really do make a pretty good phone. So today what we're going to do is unbox it, sort of, because I've actually taken the phone out already. It's right there. That's it. And I've used it for the last 4 or 5 days, 6 days, 5 days. Taking pictures. I went on a 3-day weekend getaway, and I decided to bring this phone to use as my camera. So we'll put some photos up later on in the video so you guys can see that. Also, we have some benchmarks that we will be doing again on this phone versus their budget-friendly, the M6 Pro, I believe it is, and my iPhone 14 Pro. Because if you look at the POCO phone, again, I don't officially know the price, but my bet is if you're looking at one of the 14 or 15 Pros, this phone is going to cost half of that. And are you going to get, the question is, are you going to get more than half the performance back? And the simple answer is, yeah, you are. So let's start this. Oh yeah, we'll show you some games as well, because gaming, right? Anyways, here's the box that it comes in. This is the POCO F6, and I have a feeling one of the things that I forgot to take out of here, I'm guessing, is a case, because a lot of the POCO phones come with a case, and I was just so excited when it came on Friday last week. It literally came like 5 minutes before I was leaving, that I didn't really delve into the box. Anyways, you are going to get this here, and this is going to have your SIM card remover and the case. Yes, it is. All your manual stuff. I'm putting the case on now because I literally dropped that phone twice coming down the stairs. So this, as you can see, is this nice color. But you have these nice little, I like that POCO gives you these cases, because it's not as if you can go down to your local store, especially if you live in North America, and get a case, right? So this one's a little, this is the M series and this is the F series. This one's got actual cutouts for the cameras, which is super nice, not just a big opening. So that's going to give it even more protection. I'm down with that. That's cool. And you get, now, I don't know if you were to buy this from someone that sold like universal stuff, that if you would get a like North American plug, but this is a European plug. So this is a 90 watt, so it's a nice plug. Luckily for me, I do have converters, so I can just put it in a converter on this, and I'll be good to go. At least it'll still be useful, but if not, maybe something that you want to look into. But if you live somewhere where you use like the European standard, then you're good. And of course, we have a USB cable, a nice long USB cable. And this is going to be, my guess is, yeah, USB-A to USB-C. So if you guys can see it there, but nice and long, which is excellent. I love that they give you some nice long cable. And really, that's the unboxing. You know, you don't get much more than you would get with any other phone. I don't need that piece. Quick look at the phone itself. There it is. 2 big cameras. Now, if you look at camera wise, it does have a telephoto 2 times. It has your standard 1 times, and it has a 0.5, I believe it is, 0.5, 0.6 out of these lenses. 50 megapixel, just so you guys are aware. Pretty standard Android layout. You know, you're going to have, I'm guessing this is a microphone up top, or a speaker maybe, and then a couple microphones. Same thing on the bottom, microphone, and of course your USB-C charging port. As far as I can tell, 90 watts. Now, this version of this phone that I got from them, again, just so you guys know, now they have changed their operating system, because it is Android 14 based, I believe. And it used to be called MIUI, so MIUI. But now they've actually, during the update, it's been changed. So you actually see that if you come into the About This Phone, it's called the Xiaomi Hyper OS. So version 1.0.3.0. This is a POCO F6. This one here is running 512 gigs of internal storage plus 16 gigs of RAM. Again, I don't know what the other versions of this phone may be. And if you guys want to, I'll put this up closer so you can see some of the information in regards to the phone. I'll just kind of scroll a little bit here so you guys can see. But there you go. There's your RAM, there's your OS version, there's your Android version. I don't know if there's anything else super exciting here for you. Let me just take a look. Just make sure when you get it, there are some firmware updates, not firmware updates, but like operating system updates. So make sure you get on board with that. And we'll go upstairs and show you some of the benchmarks and get some more of that info so you can make a decision whether you think this new F6 is maybe your next phone, because honestly, it's pretty good.
All right, guys, so we are back upstairs, and first off, we're going to talk about some benchmarks. Take benchmarks with, you know, a little bit of skepticism, but at least gives you an idea, especially if you have an older phone and you know what those benchmark scores are. You can take a look at these phones and kind of get an idea if you think they're better or at least a big enough jump so that it's worth you going that route to a new phone. So we did put up the M6 Pro, which is the one that I did just a couple months ago from POCO. I believe that's one of their more budget phones right now. The POCO F6, which is their new phone, of course. And I put it up against my iPhone 14 Pro because I don't have a 15. And honestly, a 14 Pro still smoking fast. First program that we tested it on was Geekbench 6. And as you can see from the screen here, the iPhone 14 dominant for sure. But again, you have to look at the fact that, you know, if this is, let's say it's a $400 or $500 phone, when I bought the iPhone 14 Pro when it first came out, just over a year and change ago, that's a $1,300, this is Canadian prices, that's a $1,300, $1,400 phone. So, and that doesn't give you things like the amount of storage, right? My phone has 128 gigs of storage on it versus the F6, which has 512 gigs. So you got 4 times the amount of storage. So you're getting pretty good, like pretty close single core speeds in comparison to the 14 and quadrupling the storage for probably, I'm guessing, somewhere between a half and a third of the cost. That's going to be on your single core. So going to multi-core, you can see here that we do another jump. But again, you know, the POCO M6 still, you know what, it's a phone that if you don't have a phone, you want to get a phone for your kids, you want to get a phone for your grandparents, you want a second phone, or if that phone, the only thing it's going to be doing really is playing some really basic games or email and browsing the web and things like that, Facebook, then the M6 is fine. If you want a little bit more, especially performance, getting you closer to that flagship type performance, then the F6 is kind of getting where you want to be, right? So you're seeing here, again, you're not doing too bad. And this is multi-core, 4900 versus 6700. Very reasonable, because really at a phone that's probably less than half the price, you would expect less than half the performance, and you're not getting that. You're getting like 3/4 of the performance, right? 4/6, is that 3/4, 2/3, something like that. That was actually really good too. Graphics, so the GPU test kind of is a little bit, I say, of a different beast, because I don't know why Geekbench really favors, I don't know if it just favors the actual iPhone, but the way that it renders out stuff in Geekbench, you would think that they were just, I don't know, like they were completely different devices. So we'll take a look here. And as you can see, this is where it really does look like the iPhone is just predominant, like it's just going to blow away. And if you're looking for gaming and things like that, well, you should just get an iPhone. And that's why we did some other tests. POCO M6 got a 1300, about 8700 for the F6, still a good speed in Geekbench. iPhone, it's just ridiculous. Really, in my opinion, I'm like, this is where, you know, Geekbench or just benchmarking, you have to take with a little bit of a grain of salt, because once I was done with this, we ended up doing 3D Mark, and I was like, well, this is going to really show off how powerful the iPhone is in regards to the F6, but not the case. And this is actually something that, this is a program that is actually doing 3D stuff. So if you are into gaming, this is really important, right? So we did 3D Mark, and first off, we did the wildlife test. So the POCO M6, it kind of struggles everywhere, right? But with just a standard wildlife test, we're getting 1244 as a benchmark score. The F6 and the iPhone 14 both just came back. I put a number here, 5,000, but it came back and just said maxed out. Both of them maxed out. I believe with the wildlife test, you're running just HD footage or HD 3D through it. Both of these phones were just like, yeah, bring it. No worries at all. Again, if you're looking at price versus performance, especially if you're going to be getting a phone like this for gaming, then I think this is the POCO F6 does actually really well. Then we did the Wildlife Extreme. And the Wildlife Extreme is basically the same test, but this time it actually fires out 4K footage. So it actually pushes a 4K stream through it. So it's a lot harder on the phones to be able to process that. And as you can see here, again, the M6, the poor little M6, right? It was just like, I don't want that. I don't want that. But the F6, 3183, the iPhone 14, 3349, almost identical. And if you looked at the average frames per second of these two phones, the POCO F6 got 19 point something average, and the iPhone 14 got 20 average. You know, they're pretty much identical to each other. The iPhone 14, yes, is a bit better, but not 2 to 3 times the price better. Right? Okay, let's go look at some games. So I'm actually just going to put some games up on the screen that I was playing. And simply put, you know, first off, we started with Call of Duty Mobile, and I don't know what to tell you, because this is really giving you a flagship performance, especially when it has to do with 3D and graphics and things like that. Games like Call of Duty had no issues at all, 0 issues at all. I also tried a couple racing games. So I tried a rally game, again, super fluid. I'm sure it's running at max out because the screen resolution is going to be maxed out, but it's not pushing like 4K through it. So we tried this rally game. We tried Asphalt 9, which is, again, another game that I always try. Loading times on them were excellent. The actual gameplay was excellent. The sound is really good on them. You know, as of this time in history and life, when I'm filming this, I don't think there's a game on the Google Play Store that I would think that this phone would have too much of an issue with. So, you know what, if you're looking at a budget, I want to say budget phone, because if you can get this phone for like $500-600 or lower, again, it may be lower. I have no idea. That's a steal. Honestly, it's a steal. It's a really good phone for that. Gaming, right? Checkbox, please. Checkbox. Last but not least, and was a big important one for me, and was the reason that I took the phone out for the last few days, was photography and video. So what I'm going to do here, firstly, you know, this phone can, which is really good. This phone has a 50 megapixel in it, but you have to go into the phone app to tell it that you want 50 megapixels. Just realize that if you do that, it's going to take up more space because they are bigger files. Standard-wise, it shoots 12 megapixels, which again is pretty standard for most phones that can have like a super resolution version back down to a normal one. It has the 0.6 times, the 1 times, the 2 times. It does have the ability to do a 10 times digital zoom if you so choose. But for me, the real kicker here on this phone, 4K 60 with optical image stabilization. So that optical image stabilizer, 4K 60 on the phone, plus in photos. So photo and video, you get optical image stabilizing, and again, you get optical image stabilizing in 4K 60. So that was super awesome. So what I'll do is I'll put some music up. You guys can see some photos that I took with it, and you can see some video that I shot with it. It's just random. Just let her go. All right, guys. Again, I'm not 100% sure what the pricing is of this phone, but you know, if you can get this, I'm saying if it comes in 500 or less, it's a steal. Comes in 600 or less, it's still a really good buy. Like it's a really good buy. It's got a lot of performance to it. I would have no issues using this fella right here as my daily driver. For sure, the camera's good. It plays games. You know, the benchmark scores, really, who cares? But they're actually really good. And yeah, it's a great little phone. I'm gonna probably keep playing with this for the next little while. And that's all. We'll see you guys next video, and I'll put links to POCO's website down below if you're at all interested in picking this up. All right, guys, I'm out. Later.